Do you always want to have the latest and greatest VST plugins? Sometimes I do, but not today, because I just found out that on KVR audio you can set the search thing for oldest, and then it will show the oldest plugins that have ever been uploaded to KVR audio, and the oldest one of all time costs $350, and it looks like this. Wow. The developer, in all that time that this has existed, has never thought to themselves, wait up, this is old, I could drop the price. AAS, wait, isn't that something like Applied Acoustic Systems? Yep, is it? It is. Oh, oops. Wait, I can also just go on the website by clicking there. Right. So Applied Acoustics Systems. I always thought that they were a slightly new developer because they make Chromophone, and I also have the session version of Launch Lizard and Strum, which are very cool plugins. So yeah, they have great plugins, but I didn't know that they have stuff that is so old. Now I want to find out how old is this even, because when I'm able to check for old stuff, then I also want to know how old it actually is. So this is not how, or 1969, what does it mean? Is this a year? No, that can't be, that makes no sense. So where is the date? I clicked on oldest because I want to know what is the oldest plugin. 2020. Okay, it seems like I'm not the only one who came around just to see if it's what's the oldest plugin on KVR. But I still don't see anywhere where there is like an information about how old it actually is. I want to know that now. Well, anyway, I cannot test that anyway because I don't want to spend money now, especially not such a price. So let's instead just go on and check for other stuff. Rainbow Synth. Oh, very good reviews. A lot of oscillators. Okay, that's too complicated for me now. I know the old stuff is often like that, but I know there's also easy stuff sometimes. SES Synth. Up to 64 note polyphonic with a polyphony limiting control. Sounds like an organ synthesizer. I don't need an organ now. SES Synth 3. Okay, that's basically the same thing, but a bit more advanced, I guess. Then we have this one, which has the typical design of VST instruments in the DAW Cubase VST 3.7, which was the first DAW that I ever used. It was given to me, a non-legit version, when I was a child, so it was okay. Yeah. What is that? Meta flute. Breath, pressure, jet pressure, noise gain, vibrato. Okay, some sort of physical modeling thing maybe, or sampler, I don't know. Very interesting. Oh, something without an image. 2 oscillators, sawtooth impulse waveforms. No GUI. Wow, that must be Chris from Air Windows' favorite synthesizer. Now, sync modular. Oh, that is small. The performance of sync modular compares to the performance of non-modular software synth. Oh, that is a modular environment. That's crazy. It's crazy that something like that already existed back then in the digital domain, because it's like getting in. This is getting popular again lately. Now, image line. What is that? An FM synthesizer. That looks quite ugly. Okay. Sorry, FL users. I'm not saying FL in general looks ugly, but this thing, wow. Okay. JX10, 2 fixed oscillators. Resonant filter. Okay. Vibrato, no GUI. Yeah, I do want to check out something with a GUI. One ping only, that looks funny. Uses tuned filters to create the ping. 16 pings can be played simultaneously. Each ping is mapped to a different key, like in a drum layout. Each ping has a parameter for frequency, duration, panning, distortion, amplitude. Uses host default interface. Hey, I thought it has a GUI. That's confusing me. Well, anyway, what is this? Tau tune filter, okay. Filter. Oh, neon. I know neon. That was also a very old Steinberg classic. One of the earliest synthesizers that still have aliasing and stuff. So yeah, we can really see that this is a really old part of KVR. Now we have VB1, which is a legendary bass synthesizer because it was abused by psytrance artists a lot, and therefore the characteristic sound of this plugin became legendary, even though not for playing E-bass, which is pretty cool. I wish there was a video that I can play now. Let's see. So the people don't find it so legendary apparently. Found this a very nasty sounding bass. What's to say about this classic substance? It's unusual. The distinctive way of programming. Okay, that sounds okay, but why then only 2 stars? What the synth is not is a fat bass engine. The sounds that come out of VB1 are undeniably thin. Yeah, I mean it's a really old synthesizer. It just has this old sound where things were not super fat, but just like they were. Unoptimized. It's a different vibe. No. And I mean, people have used it for psytrance, so you can definitely make it somehow fat if you are trying. Wir sind Terra. Wow, that looks complicated. I don't want that now. Oh, and it's not free, of course. V-Sampler. Okay, what does this do? Software sample player. For creating and playing virtual instruments. A VST plugin for playing V-Samp instruments. Okay, V-Samp seems to be its own little framework thingy or so. Okay. Okay, I don't believe that battery is so old, so I don't know what's going on with the oldest playlist, oldest search VST thingy, when things are not really that old. But okay. Also, in general, it seems to me like there are way too many synthesizers here. I don't want to see synthesizers anymore. There are enough of them. So let's only see the effects actually. So let's go on. We are still on oldest, yeah. Let's go. Chainer. Okay, so this is a really old plugin, and it looks a lot like Blue Cat Patchwork, which is funny because that's a pretty modern plugin. And the font looks a bit Super Mario-ish. Now let's go on. Oh yeah, who doesn't know the super old software FL Studio 20.8.4? Like what screams old than this software? Girl. Okay, so how is this girly? Girl is made up of modules. Each module is a VST, sound, or file loop. Wait, so this thing loads VST plugins or what? It does look quite cool. Like you can chop samples and they have the super grainy looks. I like that. Made with Pluggo Max MSP. Okay, I know Max MSP, but what is Pluggo? And why is Max MSP so old? MIDI Quest. I don't know that thing, and it costs money, so it's not interesting. Actually, I should let it only show free plugins so that I don't waste my time here. Oh, what is that? Bus? A VST adapter for bus. What does adapting mean? Is it like a host or something? I only know that this shows Quadrafuzz, which is a really cool plugin that was once part of Cubase and then they ditched it. I don't know if I've ever told the story in a video, but I once bought Cubase and then I found out that they didn't have the old version of Quadrafuzz in it anymore. So I googled if I can find a crack. And I found one, and this is actually the crack, because the distinct looks of the crack are that there is this triangle thingy here, and then you know it's the correct version of Quadrafuzz. Anyway, I was concerned about using a crack, you know, so I called the support and asked basically like, well, I own Cubase, so don't I technically also own all the old plugins that came with earlier versions of Cubase? And they were like, yes. And then I was like, okay, so I tried to put the legit version of old Quadrafuzz into the new Cubase version and it was not accepted, so I got a crack of the old version. Can I use that? And they said yes. So if you want to use a cracked version of Quadrafuzz in your version of Cubase, then that is officially allowed by the support of Cubase. Now let's go on. Oh yeah, tape delay. Decay, loop, pitch. The famous Robert Fripp effect called Fliptronics, making a continuous loop. Okay, so a loop player, but without tempo sync features, so that it's more real. That sounds exactly like one of the old plugins that you would get from... Oh, audio to MIDI. Audio to MIDI. Now things are getting really interesting. Audio to MIDI. What is this? God kann allein cookies. Cookie installieren. Bekräfte meine Wahl. Ja, ich schätze mal, dass ich das bekräfte. Okay, so it doesn't seem like this plugin is still a thing anymore, but this would have been interesting now. That would have been something that I like to test, because the audio to MIDI plugins nowadays, they just kind of suck. And I know that it's not a trivial problem to solve, but I think that back in the days there were more custom algorithms for these kind of things. So if I would see hope in a plugin to actually fulfill my audio to MIDI needs, then it would probably be an old one, most likely. So let's go on. Synth tests. What can we test here? Simple application allows you to pick a MIDI source, play with That sounds boring as fuck. Okay, let's go on. Tube amp voweler. Oh, a vowel filter. Okay. Mixing two vowels. Let's check that out if it still is a thing. Audio units. Oh no, that's not the VST plugin. Okay. Guitar suite without an image. A suite of VST plugins. For amplifiers, analog processors. No, I don't want to process. We got these every once a week. Bass expander. Yeah, I guess. Bass saturation. PSP vintage meter. I think that sounds pretty cool. Could just be added for the vibe. Oh, page not found. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's always a problem when you have these really old plugins. Then you cannot expect them to still be a thing when coming back so many years later. And I could try to find where that is here. Maybe they have made an updated version of it. It seems like they have done a lot of stuff in the meantime. As you probably know, I'm not the biggest analog analog emulation fan. So I'm not very knowledgeable about plugin developers who make like exclusively analog emulation. So I think I've heard of PSP, but I never checked out any of that. Here the vintage warmer looks like it does have the VU meter of that free plugin in it. Is it free? Well, not quite. Okay, so then let's just go on and do something else. A piano reverb. A reverb specifically made for piano. Generates reverberation using 12 string operators with adjustable damping and decay time. Is tuned to a particular note starting from... Oh, okay, so it tries to be super musical. Can be range of transposed. I can transpose a reverb. Okay, that sounds fascinating actually. PSP PianoVerb. Is this free? Yeah, it is. So as you can see, we are still on the PSP website, and we actually found something that that seems cool. Now I have to put in my details, so I will pause the recording here. Alright, so now I have downloaded the PianoVerb that was released a long time ago according to KVR, even though it doesn't look so old, to be honest. And it just can't be very old when it has a VST3 version, or it was updated not very unrecently. I mean, okay, the VST3 standard exists for a long time already, but not that long, so kinda makes no sense to call this an old plugin, but anyway. Oh yeah, I just tested a different plugin here, but let's just put that to the side and put a new plugin here for this sequence. Noise. Nice, nice. So now we need a piano sound. We already have the piano reverb, but Keyzone Classic is a piano plugin, yeah. Okay, let's check out both clips at the same time. Nice. Hey. Why? By the way, this is one of the worst piano plugins of all time. When it comes to the envelope that is built in, because you can only really use the first few millimeters of the attack, decay and release parameters, because they just have no skewing at all. So if the developer of Keyzone Classic, Bitsonic, watches this, yeah, you made a plugin that a lot of people use because it has some nice keyboardy piano sounds to get started with, and it's free and everything, but what is this? Please fix that. No, LFO depth. Okay, turn off the reverb, because we want to know what the reverb sounds like of the piano verb. But I'm not sure if I can use this sound already. I want to have slightly more depth and brilliance on the sound before going going to use a reverb. Okay, that already sounds pretty okay. Now we can actually start with the reverb. PianoVerb PSP. Okay, so first of all, I gotta say, it would be really cool if you could actually modulate the transpose parameter, but it seems to reallocate the way the delays, the internal delays work, just pretty drastically, pretty much non-modulatable, which is a shame because a feature like that, it is put into the center of the GUI as if it is the main feature, and when I read the description of the plugin, I also thought that this is the main feature, the thing that is in the spotlight of the plugin. So I would have expected that they took the most extreme care about this parameter being versatile. But yeah. At least these parameters seem to be modulatable. Actually let's not use ROM on the up, but also try the PSP PianoVerb on this arpeggiator, just because we can. Huh? Why? Huh? It just goes out when you turn output knob up high. Or am I already clipping? Oh yeah, I am. Okay. Huh? That makes no sense though. Or does it have excessive DC offset? Yeah, it does. I was wondering why it goes up to the limiter so fast, even though it didn't seem loud on my headphones. But yeah, it has DC offset, massive DC offset. Let's actually check out how it looks in the oscilloscope. You know, I'm treating this plugin like it was a new plugin that needs feedback. But of course it's not, because it's old, but I really like this plugin. It's cool. It could just be even better. It doesn't look that DC offsetty. Huh? That should have also solved it. Now I'm confused. Oh, I'm not. Oh, I'm on the piano track right now. Okay, okay, okay. That explains why I didn't see the DC offset changing. Oh yeah, that's massive DC offset before the filter. And then the filter comes and boom. Of course, no parameter smoothing. Nice, nice, nice. Now let's check out how it sounds on a kick. Because I want to have a little bit of more variance now. Yeah, on the kick you can really hear all the tuned delays that are really not made to sound natural, but very specific for reverbs. And it sounds a bit like in a horror movie. You could actually go much wilder with that. Wow. don't know, does it add with? Yeah, it does. So yeah, it is a useful tool. It is old, it is useful. It has plenty of problems, but just the problems that plugins always have when they are super old, like missing parameter smoothing on various parameters. And what can I do about it? That is just how it is when you are using really old plugins. Even though I gotta say, it still doesn't look that old to me. I mean, it even has a thing for changing the... What can I do here? Type in a value or what? Drag? Mouse wheel? Oh yeah, mouse wheel. Yeah, so resizable. Looks like really good vector graphics. I don't know what's old about this thing except that it doesn't have parameter smoothing and stuff like that. I don't know. It looks kind of modern. Plugin version. Build. 12.10. I don't know. The build number does not hint the date when it was created, which is a shame. The manual. Oh, no manual available. Yeah, so the fact that some things are just not working does show that it's old, but it doesn't look that old. And what it really shows is that old plugins can have very weird applications that you have to fill into. It's a bit different than plugins in modern times that just try to fulfill the dreams of like people who try to be professional, like saying, oh, we make the most professional 808 kicks. No, this is more like an experimental take on what could be a good reverb character for a piano, which is very specific. That was how a lot of plugins were back then. They were always very technical and just try to experiment with the sound. And that's what I highly value about old plugins like that. That's why I uploaded this video as well, to show you that when you are scouting for old plugins, it's not just for fun. You're not just making fun of how dumb it all looked and stuff, but in the end you end up with something that kind of has some sort of magic, and then you explore that and you find some sounds that you would have otherwise not found. And that's why I want you to go out there and also scout for old plugins now, and let me know in the comments which old plugins you then found and made some music with, and why that was cool and stuff like that. If you want to let me know about that, then we could have a nice little chat. Maybe I will also download the plugins that you tested, and then we can talk about them together.